For the video version of this podcast, please visit our YouTube channel, Daughters of the American Revolution, National Headquarters. Otherwise, please enjoy this audio podcast on your favorite podcast streaming service.
Actually, there are quite a few records that the general public can access from the DAR website from anywhere. There are more than 2 million names available to the general public. The other names, more names are available within the DAR library for people to do research and find hints about their patriots.
This is the DAR Today podcast. My name is Brooke Bullmaster Stewart, the National Chair of the DAR Today Podcast Committee. Are you new to the DAR Today podcast, or have you been engaging with the podcast for a little while now? If you haven't been familiar with what we do in DAR, I would imagine that these episodes have really opened your eyes to all the DAR accomplishes in all of our different committees and the daughters that are working together to promote patriotism, historic preservation, and education in our country and beyond are an amazing group of people. Our first podcast in the Wright administration came out about 1 year ago in August, and we've had some time to reflect as a committee about what we've been able to accomplish. Besides interviewing almost half of the executive board members, 11 committees have been featured during this inaugural year. We've had multiple segments about American history and our uniquely American holidays. We featured 7 different chapter or state events and have had no less than 14 different special features and segments. What an amazing adventure it's been. Our DAR Today podcast has been watched or listened to almost 30,000 times now. And that seems like a lot, but when you think of the amount of members that we have, we would really like to reach more of you. Our podcast will reach even more people if you will subscribe on the format you're listening to or watching now, and if you would give it a like or a thumbs up and a comment and review. It really does affect how our podcast goes out into the world when you do any or all of these things. Thanks in advance for everything you're doing and promoting this podcast to your prospective members, your friends, your family, and your chapter. As you might remember, one of our goals from day one was to continue to honor our patriots with Patriot Profile stories, and we have a very unique one for you today. We'll also talk with our Genealogical Records and our Patriot Records Project National Chairs. It's fascinating the amount of work their committees are doing. But be sure to listen to the end, as we have a wonderful story and a fun call to action for all of you. But let's jump right in. The Patriot Profile segment is dedicated to all the patriots, known and unknown, that helped our country gain its independence. We offer you a parade of exemplary lives. May their selfless acts of patriotism inspire us and many generations to come. To quote the infamous Beatles, I get by with a little help from my friends, and during the American Revolution, help from our friends was essential. Spain was just one of those friends. Spanish forces attacked British positions in the south and helped secure supply routes. They also provided financial support in the form of donativos. These donations were collected throughout New Spain. This month's Patriot Profile tells the story of a Spanish soldier that donated to the cause. This is the story of Ignacio Vicente Vallejo. Ignacio Vallejo was born in 1748 in Cañada, Jalisco, Spanish America, so basically smack dab in the middle of modern-day Mexico. His parents dedicated him to the church and hoped for a future in the priesthood. In fact, at the last moment, he rebelled at the thought of this vocation and literally bolted through the sacristy to escape, with the aid of his friends, to the part of Compostela where he remained in hiding until the chance to exchange his fugitive status for a military career in a then obscure outpost of Spain's New World Empire. This remote outpost was Alta California, which of course is modern-day California. He rose through the ranks and became an officer, with records showing that he was cited for bravery during the uprising at Mission San Diego de Alcala in November of 1775. The mission had been surrounded and set ablaze. Father Luis Jaime and 2 other Spaniards were killed in the attack, and survivors were forced to flee to the uncertain safety of the Presidio located 6 miles away. Vallejo's military career ultimately spanned 50 years. He served in San Diego, Monterrey, Soledad, San Jose, Santa Cruz, and San Luis Obispo, basically up and down the California coastline. He went on to become a civil engineer, designing many of the irrigation systems for the missions and towns, and a large landowner. Spanish King Carlos III requested that his subjects donate both prayers and funds in support of the American Revolution. Vallejo, who's a major domo in the Royal Presidio, San Carlos Cathedral, donated $10, being both wealthy and generous. Vallejo died in 1832, and mission records show that he was buried at the Royal Presidio Mission San Carlos Cemetery in Monterey, California. At the time, all the grave markers were wooden. Vulnerable to the elements, over time they disintegrated and returned to dust. Vallejo's exact grave location has been lost, but thanks to the Daughters of the American Revolution, a marker on a stone outside of the historic Royal Presidio Chapel, San Carlos Cathedral, commemorates his contribution to American independence. Do you have a Spanish patriot in your ancestry tree? Do you have roots in Spain, the Canary Islands, or Cuba? As we mentioned in our March episode of this podcast, the descendants of Spanish citizens who fought and provided aid are eligible to join DAR. Spanish subjects of diverse nationalities throughout New Spain participated in several ways, from active military troops, militia, providing supplies, and giving financial support through the collection of the donativos. Contact the DAR Spanish Task Force for more information and assistance on proving your Spanish patriot. I have the pleasure of speaking today with Catherine Medich, who is the National Chair for the Genealogical Records Committee. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Brooke.
Tell us about yourself.
I am a New Jersey daughter from the General Mercer chapter, of which I am also presently regent.
That's wonderful. How long have you been a member?
Of DAR, 26 years, something like that.
That's a wonderful legacy of history in DAR. You can tell by all of your insignia. Tell us about the Genealogical Records Committee. We'd love to know.
The Genealogical Records Committee is one of DAR's oldest committees. We started in 1913 as a means of collecting original, unpublished documentation to help members with new applications and supplementals, and that is still our mission today.
So tell me about the records that your committee collects.
We collect unpublished primary source material that can assist researchers with their applications. So a large portion of the collection is Bible records, cemetery transcriptions, church records. We've also recently brought in a lot of funeral home cards, particularly for states that didn't start vital records in an early enough time frame to be able to assist with the documentation needed for an application.
I think some people might think that, well, all the records are there, that's it. But are you still getting quite a lot of information in new records? Not new records, but new records or information of old transcripts and things like that? Are you still getting a lot of that?
Absolutely. We add to the Bible records every year.
New Jersey, my home state, recently added 1,200 new pages of Bible records that we had not had a submission to the GRC since the 1990s. So I'm very proud of all New Jersey daughters for assisting with that. And so we are always on the lookout for anything that isn't on Family Search, that isn't on Ancestry, that would be able to assist researchers.
Is there anything about your committee you think people would be surprised to know?
Yes, we are confused with many other similarly titled committees. On our annual reports, we receive accolades for work done for other committees that chapters accidentally add to our report, which is, I hope that they've duplicated it on the correct page to give everyone all of their due for all their hard work.
We're also going to have on the same episode, as you know, the Patriot Records Project National Chair, and she'll talk about what she's doing. Tell me the difference between those two.
The Genealogical Records Committee looks for original genealogical records. We also present it to the DAR as a volume. So the researcher or the volunteer goes out, finds a collection, images it, transcribes it, indexes it, and packages it as a whole volume. Patriot Records, it's a more of an indexing. So we get more original researchers attached to our committee. And because it's what interests the volunteer, the records are wide-ranging. And although at times it seems frustrating that you cannot find the one record you're looking for, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just that it has not been added to the collection. And I have a wonderful vice chair from Georgia, Kitty Waters. She has been exceedingly helpful and supportive as we learn how to make the committee more accessible to more members and to encourage more donations to the library.
Thank you so much for being here today, Catherine.
Thank you, Brooke. It was a joy.
We have the privilege of speaking today to Judith Halter. And may I call you Judy?
Yes, you may. Everyone does.
Thank you. And you are the national chair for the Patriot Records Project.
That's correct.
And first of all, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. I joined the DAR about 6 years ago. I was born in New Jersey and now live in Maryland. So my chapter is the Samuel Chase chapter in Salisbury, Maryland.
Tell us about this Patriot Records Project.
I'd love to. I began doing records for the Patriot Records Project when I was taking the new member course, and it was my project to fulfill that course, and as such became just totally enamored of the indexing and found it fascinating. In 2015, the program was begun by the DAR National Board, and we started indexing the records that the DAR library already owned but had not been indexed. And we've since branched out to some of the state societies, some of the national historical societies, and received records from them. We're still able to take new records if anyone has any they'd like indexed. The records are very interesting. They run the gamut from birth information, death information, Patriot service. We're indexing right now the Patriots' pension records, and they're very interesting.
Tell me about one of the more interesting things you've seen.
Okay. Of course, there are always those papers that have several wives and a few children that were not of those marriages. And to see that all documented and recognized is really kind of neat.
Very interesting. They're real people.
They're real people, just like us.
Not just stories on a page, right?
Yes.
Now, there's a little difference between the Genealogical Records Committee, and we'll be talking to her in this same podcast, and yourselves. So your focus is primarily?
Our focus is primarily the Patriot records, the pensions, muster rolls, the documents that of the service. And so it's mostly service related.
So you index those so that everyone can have access to those digitally, or is it just the archivists, or who has access to those records?
Actually, there are quite a few records that the general public can access from the DAR website from anywhere. There are more than 2 million names and available to the general public. The other names, more names are available within the DAR library for people to do research and find hints about their patriots.
That is a really neat resource, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I think it would be surprising for a lot of people to know how much work you have in your committee. Tell us about your national vice chairs, and I think you have something surprising about the scope of work.
Yes, I do. I'll introduce my national vice chairs. I have Catherine Andrews from Arizona. I have Melissa Matan from North Carolina. I have Kathleen Rivers from Virginia and Rebecca Vajak from Texas. And what people are most surprised about is the number of hours that my national vice chairs are required to spend just answering emails. We try to get back to our volunteers within an hour, and we do pretty well with that. But that means that for at least 20 hours every week, my national vice chairs are online answering emails. And they do an excellent job, and I could not do this job without them.
That's amazing. How many emails do you think you get a week?
A week, I'm not sure. I know last year we got over 30,000 in a year. And so our average out is 85 a day. Some days, of course, it's more. President General puts out a blog. There are going to be thousands of emails, and that's what we need. So thank you for everyone.
That's an amazing job that you're doing in this committee and this commission. Tell us about some of your projects this year.
Okay, well, the first thing we did was we created a new logo. Back in October of 2002, I attended the Sparkling Service Leadership Conference and was inspired to create this logo and had the help of some of my team to create it. We've also done some cleanup on some Spanish records that had some offensive terms used. We've done some cleanup on the overall index because when it first started, some things were indexed or labeled incorrectly, and so we had to kind of clean up things. And then we also created a 15-minute video for training, which people can watch to see just how you do the data entry, the clicks as I call them.
Well, thank you so much for that hard work. We really appreciate it.
One more thing is that we also plan on preparing a video about how to query our records. There's some written information on how to query the records, but there are also some tips that can make that process smoother. So we're going to create that training video as well.
Well, Judy, it's wonderful to have you at the helm here of the Patriot Records Project, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Sometimes all it takes to change our day, our week, is a whisper of inspiration. I hope the next story will inspire you. It's a story of a life that has journeyed through over a century of experiences. Fellow daughter Elizabeth Turner Clodfelter celebrates her 105th birthday on September 6th this year. She's a remarkable woman who embodies the courage and dedication of her patriots. She serves as a testament to the strength of character that runs through generations. Her patriotism and service to DAR is a beautiful reminder of the ties that bind us to our past. Elizabeth's journey through life, from her birthplace in Spokane, Washington, to her education in a 2-room schoolhouse in Calder, Idaho, her patriotism, along with her dedication to preserving history and supporting education, has left a lasting impact. Her involvement with DAR spans more than 3 decades, and her contributions have touched the hearts of many. Her membership in the Spokane Gary chapter has left her mark on various capacities. She was the Washington State Outstanding Chapter Regent and a Veterans Affairs Volunteer Service Committee member. Her commitment to education and patriotism is evident in her service as the Washington State Chair of the Flag of the United States of America for many years. Elizabeth has purchased flags flown over Constitution Hall and the Capitol for family and friends. She's organized flag retirement ceremonies and educated children about flag etiquette. She still serves to this day as her chapter's flag chairman, a position she's held over 2 decades, making sure the chapter always has a flag minute to present at all chapter meetings, even if she herself cannot always attend. Her unwavering dedication to the U.S. flag is a testament to her love for our country and its values. Elizabeth went on to join the Jonas Babcock DAR chapter Spokane as an associate member. She was DAR school chair for both chapters for around 14 years. Under her guidance, the Jonas Babcock chapter donated school supplies to children in Spokane's lower-income schools. She often delivered the items herself, underscoring her hands-on approach to community service. The dedication of Jonas Babcock members to the Year of the Flag initiative in 2021 was inspired by the President General's blog, Fly the Flag with Pride in 2021. It was truly remarkable. With Elizabeth leading the charge, the chapter presented 211 flag certificates. The culmination came in a poignant gesture at Gonzaga University, where Elizabeth presented a flag to President Thane McCullough. The ROTC members there had flown the U.S. flag continuously since the early 1940s. In recognition of her unwavering patriotism, President McCullough honored Elizabeth with a crystal paperweight bearing the Gonzaga logo. Her spirit of giving even extended to donating the paperweight as a fundraiser for her chapter. In honor of her first patriot in the DAR, Joseph Dixon, she made connections with and partnered with the Murfreesboro, Tennessee chapter to create a never-forget garden there at his gravesite. How many of us would undertake such a project, coordinating with members on the other side of the country? She's such an example of a member who knows what it means to honor our patriots. Elizabeth is a living link to history. She's borne witness to over 19 U.S. presidents and can tell you history on each of them. Her love and dedication to the DAR schools are a testament to her belief in education's power to shape lives. She, along with her husband of 57 years, Paul, a World War II veteran, visited all 5 DAR schools on more than one occasion. She collected the names of students and had fellow chapter members mail birthday cards to students. Supporting the DAR schools has been important to me throughout my years in DAR, Mrs. Clodfelter said. She continues, because of the overwhelming poverty in rural mountain regions of the South, many children are faced with challenges that prevent them from receiving a basic education and opportunities that we take for granted in many parts of this country. The DAR schools offer young men and women who are fortunate to attend a future that would otherwise be unavailable to them. Well, Elizabeth has also served as the state DAR school chair for several years. She spearheaded a fund drive for the Washington Cottage, selling engraved bricks for the front pathway. She donated a dogwood tree that stands as a testament to her devotion in providing opportunities to others. When the hurricane struck several years ago, she was a cheerleader to raise funds to restore the cottage and help those in need. Elizabeth Turner Clodfelter's continuing journey is a testament to the power of passion, commitment, and the desire to make a positive impact. Her legacy will continue to inspire generations to come, reminding us all of the profound difference one individual can make through their actions and dedication. Elizabeth's family will put together a picnic party for her upcoming birthday. We as fellow daughters can also celebrate Elizabeth and this remarkable milestone birthday by sending birthday cards and well wishes. To protect hers and the chapter region's privacy here on this public forum, if you'd like to send well wishes and a birthday card to Elizabeth for her upcoming 105th birthday, please email this chair at darpodcast@nsdar.org. Again, that's darpodcast@nsdar.org. We'll get you the information you need to send those birthday greetings along. We wish a very happy birthday to a living legend, a guiding light, and a cherished DAR member who reminds us that with each passing year, life becomes not just a journey, but a masterpiece of living memories. We leave you today with this quote by Henry David Thoreau. "One must maintain a little bit of summer, even in the middle of winter." Hold on to summer, my friends. You may not think so now, but you'll be craving these days when we're in that bleak midwinter. Thanks for listening, and be well, dear friends. Let's celebrate the stars and stripes forever, and remember, with all of your ancestors behind you, you are the result of the love of thousands. Well, this podcast was written and produced by our incredible team of writers and editors, but special gratitude is expressed today for Allison Minella, Cole Miller-Cohen, and Sherry Stein. And we are, as always, so grateful for President General Pamela Edwards-Rouse Wright and Historian General Suzanne Heskey for their constant guidance. To Kate Johans for bringing Mrs. Clodfelter's birthday to our attention. Thank you, Kate. And to Catherine Medich and Judith Halter for being so generous with their time. The National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is a nonprofit, non-political women's service organization dedicated to promoting patriotism, preserving American history, and securing America's future through better education for children. Members are all lineal descendants of those who supported the cause of independence in the Revolutionary War. For more information, please visit dar.org. This is the DAR Today podcast.